And welcome back to Play Action Fantasy Football. This is Jonathan here with you. We're going over our Week 13 tight end start sits today. Let's get started. We're looking at Thursday night. We got the Seahawks at the Cowboys. Noah Fant, Jake Ferguson. It's going to be a sit for Noah Fant. Not a surprise. He's had less than 2 catches since Week 3. Not impressive whatsoever. Definitely a sit. Jake Ferguson, definitely a start this week. I know he had a rough week last week, but it's going to be a great matchup for him against the Seahawks. The Cowboys are going to have a great day. They're going to be controlling the entire game, and I don't see Ferguson not having a very good day, getting 15, 20 points. So definitely start Ferguson this week. Going to our 1 o'clock games on Sunday, our first game is the Colts at Titans. We're looking at the Colts, Kylan Granson and Mo Alley Cox, both going to be sits for the Colts, and both of them have really been splitting this tight end position, and it's really not amounting to anything for either of them. So definitely want to sit both of those guys. Now, Okonkwo, on the other hand, for the Titans, I'm going to cautionary start him this week. You might want to throw him in your lineup if you have to. He had his high week last week. I think he had 4 catches for 45 yards, which I know is not that impressive, but it's signs of improvement. And I think against the Colts defense, it's definitely a good possibility for him to get some yards. So definitely put Okonkwo there as a cautionary start if you have to. Obviously, if you have a better tight end I have starting, definitely want to go with them instead. But you might want to think about Okonkwo. The next game we're going to is the Falcons at the Jets. Tight ends Kyle Pitts, Tyler Conklin. Kyle Pitts is going to be a sit this week, okay? I mean, the Jets have a decent defense, and Kyle Pitts he's really inconsistent. So I can't put my finger on it. I think he's going to be a sit this week. Tyler Conklin, I have not started him all year. I think this is going to be the matchup for him. The Falcons defense is not bad, but I think with Tim Boyle in there, who has been finding Tyler Conklin, so definitely going to start him. And also, Lazard has been having some issues, so it just really opens the floor for Conklin there in the receiving game. So definitely start Conklin if you got him. The next game we're going to will be the Lions at the Saints. Sam Laporta, Taysom Hill. Both these guys are going to be starts. I mean, Sam Laporta, he does what he does. He's a huge part of this Lions offense. He's going to be an easy start. And as far as the Saints go, Taysom Hill, I really like Taysom Hill. He's very versatile, and the Saints know how to use him. This Saints offense is very wackadoodle, and Taysom Hill is a part of that. And so he's definitely going to be a start in my books this week. The next 1 o'clock game is the Broncos at the Texans. Broncos, Adam Troutman, he's going to be a sit for me. He had 1 catch or maybe 2 catches against the Browns last week for 1 touchdown, and that's all he's done this year. So he's going to be a sit this week. Russell Wilson has a lot of other options there on that offense. And as far as the Texans go, Dalton Schultz, he only had about 1.5 points last week, maybe 1 catch for 3, 4, 5 yards, whatever the case was. He did not have a good week last week. It's going to turn around this week, though, against the Broncos defense, who's been struggling. They've won 6 games in a row now, and I don't think it's going to 7. So watch for the Texans, Dalton Schultz getting those points for you in fantasy. Next up, we got the Chargers at the Patriots. Gerald Everett for the Chargers. He's going to be a start for me this week. He was dealing with some injuries. He's back now, and I think he's going to be firing on all cylinders. He didn't have a great week last week. He really didn't. So I think it's going to be more of a bounce-back week against the Patriots, who definitely have been struggling. So look for Everett there. Definitely want to put him in your lineup. And as far as the Patriots go, Hunter Henry, Mike Gesicki, they're both going to be sits. Both of them, they've been splitting a lot of that offensive usage, and neither of them are really putting up much points, as this Patriots offense has come to a standstill for the most part, besides Ramondre Stevenson. So sit both of those guys. Don't want them in your lineup. Next up, we're going to the Cardinals at the Steelers, 1 o'clock game. Trey McBride is going to be a start. Freiermuth is going to be a start for the Cardinals. Trey McBride, he's been going off since Ertz has been gone and Kyler Murray's been back. And the Steelers do have a good defense, so it's not going to be his best game that he's had all year, but it's going to be a good game from him, as I do expect. And as far as the Steelers go, Pat Freiermuth is going to be a start. he's been on the rise. He also is dealing with some injuries throughout the year, so he didn't get to play for a little while. But he did come back last week and had a great week. Kenny Pickett was firing on all cylinders, looked very good against the Bengals, who have a better defense than the Cardinals. So it's only fair to say Freiermuth is going to have a very good day this upcoming week. Definitely pick him up in your lineup if anybody has him dropped in their league. Definitely get him in there and start him. Next up, we got the Dolphins at the Commanders. For the Dolphins, we are looking at Smythe, and for the Commanders, Thomas. Smythe is going to be a sit. This Dolphins offense does not use him very much. Definitely going to be a sit this week. The Commanders, Logan Thomas, he's going to be a cautionary start, okay? I'm leaning towards cautionary start rather than sit, just because I do see this game getting a little out of hand for the Dolphins, and the Commanders will probably be playing catch-up. So that only opens the door for Logan Thomas. So if you have him in your league, you might want to start him. However, if you have another option, you might want to go with the other option. The next game we're going to be going to is a 4 o'clock game, the Panthers at the Buccaneers. For the Panthers, it's looking rough tight end-wise. They have Hayden Hurst, Tommy Tremble. Both of them are questionable. We're not too sure if they're going to be playing. So Hayden Hurst, he had a concussion last week. He did not practice at all last week, and so it wasn't really looking good for him. However, he could come back this week against the Buccaneers. And Tommy Tremble, who also is questionable, he left the game early last game. So we are not too sure what exactly is going on. Again, this is Monday that I record this, so we will see how it plays out throughout the rest of the week. But either way, I wouldn't want to start either of those guys, so don't worry about it too much. Sit both those guys. And as far as the Buccaneers go, Cade Otton, I definitely want to start him. And I say that because he's got a high floor. He's had 4 receptions in each of the last 4 or 6 of his last games. So it's kind of hard not to throw him in there if he's your number 1 tight end that you got. Definitely want to throw him in there. He's going to get points against a struggling Panthers defense. Not very good defense at all. So Cade Otton is going to eat this week. Definitely get him in your lineup. Next up, we're going to our 49ers and Eagles game, and that's going to be a hell of a game. Now, as far as the tight ends go, it's definitely leaning one side, and that's towards George Kittle's side. The 49ers, definitely start him. The Eagles have a great defense, but the 49ers have a great offense, and George Kittle is a huge part of that. And Kittle was not found very much last week, and I think he's going to bounce back. Brock Purdy will be finding him, so definitely start George Kittle. That's pretty easy. And as far as the Eagles go, Jack Stahl, you got to sit him. Ever since Goddard's been hurt, Stahl's done nothing, and there's no reason to start him or even have him in your lineup. So sit that guy. And then we're going to the Browns at the Rams, our last 4 o'clock game. Tight ends, David Njoku, Tyler Higbee. Some good tight ends here. David Njoku, I'm going to start him this week against a good Rams defense, and with the Browns quarterback situation up in the air. DTR is hurt. We're not too sure if PJ Walker or Joe Flacco or DTR will be back. No idea, but that does tell me that this Browns offense is going to be very limited. They're not going to be tossing the ball downfield. It's going to be a lot of shorter passes, a lot of runs, and that means David Njoku is going to get the ball. Now, it comes down to him catching the ball. He's dropped quite a bit of passes this year over the past few weeks, but what matters is after he catches the ball, because after he catches the ball, he gets a lot of yardage. So I definitely want to start David Njoku at the end of the day against the Rams. And as far as Tyler Higbee goes, he's going to be a cautionary start. He had a great weekend last weekend, but this Rams offense is very unpredictable, especially with Nakua and Cooper Kupp still in there. I know they aren't playing great, but they're still in there, and they're still very good athletes. So we will keep that in mind. And Tyler Higbee, you might want to start him if you have to. But if you have another option, maybe lean towards them. But don't be scared to put Higbee in. The Browns have a very good defense, but at the end of the day, Higbee will be getting at least, I would say, 7 or 8 points. So definitely going to be a cautionary start, but don't be too afraid of that one. Next up, we got our 8 o'clock Sunday game, Chiefs at the Packers. We're looking at tight ends Travis Kelce and the Packers' Tucker Kraft. Luke Musgrave is now on injured reserve, so Tucker Kraft is coming in for him, playing for the Packers. He's going to be a cautionary start this week. He had a touchdown last week, looking very good. Aaron Jones is still dealing with some injuries, and Jordan Love is starting to find his passing ability, and that's going to lean towards Tucker Kraft, especially in the red zone. So I think this could be a very good week for him. If you don't have him, at least if he's a free agent, you might want to pick him up. Maybe start him if you don't have a very good tight end matchup this week. Tucker Kraft there at a cautionary start. And then as far as the Chiefs go, Travis Kelce, not going to cover that much. Packers defense isn't that good, and Kelce is going to eat. So definitely start Kelce. And last but not least, we're on our Monday night game, Bengals at the Jaguars. Tight ends Irv Smith and Evan Ingram. Pretty simple here. Irv Smith, you're going to sit him. He only had a couple catches, 1 or 2 catches last week. Not looking very good. And as far as the Jaguars go, Evan Ingram, definitely want to start him. The Bengals, they're struggling right now. And I think Ingram is definitely going to capitalize on that. And Trevor Lawrence, Ingram's been catching a majority of the passes for the Jaguars. So I definitely want to go with Ingram there as a start. And that's going to do it for our Week 13 tight end starter sits. I hope you guys enjoyed. I had a good time and got something out of it. So have a great weekend.